How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. Today we have a new money making method. Had a lot of requests for money making methods, so I'm making a bunch of them. That way you guys can go out there and make some money. Woo! Before jumping into it though, if you'd like to, we have a Discord server with over 11,000 members in it. We'd love to have you in there. If you're looking to make over 10 billion per month, that is definitely possible in the server, so go check it out and learn how to do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on into today's video. I think you're going to like this one. It's pretty simple and makes a ton of money. That sounds fun, right? Let's go. Alright, so as promised, today's video is a pretty simple one and does make a lot of money. Also, added benefit of giving crazy XP, which means this one is one you're not going to want to miss. So what you're going to need in order to do this one is going to be level 87 in your magic. That is literally the only requirement, so it's pretty easy to do. Another great thing about this one too is that you can do this while bank standing. You can also take this one on the go and do this, and literally anytime you're just going to be standing still. And then that way you can make a ton of money. So here's how you do it. It's actually pretty simple. You're going to be doing a onyx bolt enchant. So all you have to do is buy onyx bolts and then enchant them. That's literally it. If you look over here at our magic, you need to be on the regular magic spellbook. You're going to click on enchant crossbow bolt and it's going to come up with the onyx bolts E. As I mentioned, you have to have level 87 in your magic. And that is the only requirement for it at all. So when we look here, right here, we've got our onyx bolts, and then we've got fire runes that it requires, death runes, and cosmic runes. So as long as you're wearing a staff that gives you fire runes, you don't have to worry about the fire runes, and that way we're only going to be paying attention to the death runes and the cosmic runes. So death runes and cosmic runes at the time of making this video are worth right around 500 to 525 coins for the pair, and you only need one of each per cast, so the overall expense of the runes is not bad at all. If you're going to be taking this method on the go and not doing bank standing, you can also put all these runes into your rune pouch, and then that way you can just equip it and it doesn't take up any extra inventory space. So what we're going to be doing though is literally just go ahead and click on the enchant. And I'm going to show you guys a method on how to do this where it is a much faster method and will get you to a much higher amount of gold and XP per hour. So as you can see, when you click on the enchant, normally it does make these bolts, but it makes them kind of slowly. If you'd like to do it this way, you totally can, because it is 100% AFK, and as you can see, it's like 2 minutes of AFK, which is pretty awesome. So there is that method of doing it, but just keep in mind though that if you do decide to do it the AFK method, it is going to be far slower. Now the way that we speed this up is by simply clicking on our enchant crossbow bolt again, and then we're going to put something heavy onto our spacebar, like your cat or your child or whatever you want to do. People are always talking about their cats climbing on their keyboards, so if their cat happens to be on the keyboard, now this time he has a use. So once you have your cat on your keyboard, you're simply going to just place him on the spacebar and hold that down, and then you're going to go back to the enchant crossbow bolt and then just spam it. As you can see that while you are spamming the enchant crossbow bolt, it does make these extremely fast. So this is far, far, far faster than if you were not spamming it, and try not to miss like I just did. And then that way you're able to make 1,000 of these onyx bolts E per minute. That's right, 1,000 per minute, because you're enchanting 10 bolts for every cast. So that way you're going to make a crazy amount of money and XP per hour. As you can see right here with the XP drops right here, this method does give you well over 500,000 XP per hour, so it is actually a pretty viable method for training your mage that does not involve combat. So if you're looking for something like this, this could be a great method for you to try. Now, let's go ahead and get into the details though. So basically, you're able to do 60,000 casts of it, so 60,000 bolts per hour, which is 6,000 casts per hour, and that's how we have so much XP per hour. So if you are getting the boost like I'm showing right here, like for my XP, then you actually would probably be able to clear over 600k XP per hour, so that's pretty fantastic. But if you don't have them, you're still going to expect over 500k per hour. When we're looking at the costs involved, if we look at my Grand Exchange right here, I've got my Onyx Bolts E that I've been selling for $67.89 each. And then if we look at this one, it's much easier to see the math here. $67.89 each is how much I'm selling them for. $66.53 is what I get for them after the taxes. So the price I'm actually buying my Onyx Bolts at is the price literally right at mid, so $62.17. You can simply go ahead and increase that by 1 and then just sit there with a buy limit of 10,000. Some things to keep in mind with this money making method though, guys, just like every other money making method that I put on the video that involves buying or selling something, that you should double check your prices before you begin. So that means that do not immediately run to the Grand Exchange and put a buy offer for 10,000 of them and then accidentally instant buy the entire stack. That would not be great. You want them to slowly buy. If they're not slowly buying, then you're not doing it right, because you're going to be making a lot less money if you instantly buy them. It's really not worth doing. So what you're going to want to do instead is put in a slow buy offer, so that when you click on the confirm offer, it does take a little bit longer in order for them to fill. This should fill slowly. So that's basically all you need to know for that. And like I said, the prices in here definitely could be different, so make sure you check them before you start doing this. But if you look at the price difference currently between the Onyx Bolt and the Onyx Bolt E, including the price of the runes, this ends up being over 5,000 gold per cast, which ends up putting you with the 60,000 bolts made per hour, ends you putting up over 30 million gold per hour. So at 30 million GP per hour, it's actually a little bit over 30 million GP per hour, but at 30 million GP per hour and over 500k magic XP per hour, this is a pretty fantastic method for anyone to do with very, very, very low requirements of only 87 magic, which is very easy to get. The only other real requirement you must consider, and the only other thing that's going to be holding you back a little bit, is when you look at the Onyx Bolts. So we look at these Onyx Bolts right here, and as you can see, these Onyx Bolts are pretty expensive. If I buy a stack of 10,000, that costs me 62 million coins. So you are going to have some money to start this off, but as you can see with how much profit they make, it's not really going to take very long before you are making enough profit to be able to buy an entire stack of them. The other issue with this method is that there is a buy limit per 4 hours of only 10,000. So what you could easily do though is just go ahead and fill up this buy offer with much more than the minimum, and then just let this sit here and it'll fill up on its own over the next day or two. And then you can just do 100,000 of them all at once, or however many you're able to afford. As you can see, once again, it does get pretty expensive, 621 million for a stack of 100k. But when you sell these though, you'll be making quite a bit of money from the stack, so it's definitely gonna be well worth the investment. Something important to note about the Onyx Bolts as well is the reason why they are selling for so much money is because they have a high alch value. So the high alch value on the Onyx Bolt E is what makes them sit up at a higher price. So you don't really have to worry about this method ever dying. I've actually done a video on this method, I believe, quite a few years ago. So it turns out it is still a great method. And that kind of reminds me too, just real quick note, if you go and check this money making method and it's not quite as profitable as I'm showing you in this video, that's probably because a whole bunch of people just jumped on it because it was on YouTube. So if that's the case, then just be patient and wait a little while. And then that way the prices will go back to being very profitable, maybe even more profitable than this. I've actually seen it at one point where the Onyx Bolts E, with your enchanting them, I was making 10,000 per cast. So I was making about 50 to 60 million gold per hour if I was doing that hourly. So it is definitely possible for this method to be even better than what I'm showing you. Another note too is for the Onyx Bolts E, if you really like to, you can go ahead and high alch them. If we look at the money tracker down here, just click on your money tracker thing, and then you're going to grab one of the Onyx Bolts E's, and then click on this to turn it into high alch. You can see they do high alch for 9,000 coins, which is far more than what they sell for in the Grand Exchange. So if you are stuck on the limit and you really want to continue making money with these, you can whip out your high alch and start high alching these, or you can put them into a high alching machine, and they do make a lot of more money. So keep that in mind, that is another way to get rid of them, and they do give you 9,000 coins each. If for some reason you're doing this method and somehow you think maybe you've lost money, which is not too likely, then you can also throw them in the high alch to make all that money back and not worry about it anymore. Something else to consider too is that when you're putting in your buy offer for the Onyx Bolts themselves, then you can try buying for much lower than what they are just currently buying for. Because the price of the Onyx Bolts and Onyx Bolts E will go up and down, you can put a lower offer in there for the Onyx Bolts. So if we look right now at 62.17, maybe you could try buying them for like 6,100 or 6,000 each and see if it fills up. Since they do have a buy limit of 10,000, so you really can't buy that many per 4 hours anyway, so you're not really wasting any time testing, and then that way you can see if you can buy them for even better, and then so you can also try selling them for higher. As you see right here, I have these Onyx Bolts E in my Grand Exchange right now for 68.99. If they did sell for 68.99 instead of 67.89, I would definitely make a lot more money per hour as well. So those are some ways to kind of modify that and make even more money. When it comes to the runes themselves, you don't have to worry too much because they have a 25,000 buy limit, so you don't have to worry about stocking those up. Another great way to get more of the Onyx Bolts, also to get around that 10k buy limit, is just to have people around you help you buy them. you could easily just give them a small tip, and then they will probably help you out, or maybe they'll just be nice and do it for free. If you have some alts, you can also use alts to buy them. Let's say you had like 3 alts. I know there's a lot of people out there that watch my channel that have the big altscape going on. If you have your alt army of like 10 alts or something like that, then that means you'll be able to buy 100,000 Onyx bolts on your alts alone per 4 hours, which is pretty awesome. You can make some pretty crazy money using alts. So yeah, that is really it about the money making method for today. It's a very simple money making method, but it does consistently make a lot of money, so I really hope that you guys enjoy it. Also, please, in the comments down below, if you'd like to see more money making guides or whatever type of content you'd like to see, then be sure to put it in the comment and let me know what you'd like to see. And then, as always, hit that like button and subscribe, because the only way we're going to get the channel going and getting bigger is if you are hitting that subscribe button. So if you're making some money or if you're watching this video, just smack subscribe. It doesn't hurt you anyway. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.